Hello, my name is Louise Wiles, co-director of Simpson Wiles and Associates and co-creator of the Decide to Thrive system of support for accompanying partners. And welcome to the first in our series of 4 videos for our mini program Step Up and Thrive Abroad. So this first video is all about revealing reviews. Now, being pretty tough on myself, I often find the idea of sitting down and reviewing what's gone on in the past year a little uncomfortable. But then once I get stuck in, beginning by focusing on the positives, always a good place to start, I usually find myself smiling, enjoying the experience and learning a lot about what I've done in the past period of time. So we're starting these series of videos with review because there's always learning to be had and to be found in reviewing what has happened and as a result what we have learned from what we've done, both good and bad. We can take time to celebrate the successes and identify what contributed to those and remember to employ those strategies again in the future. And we can also learn from our mistakes and failures. And indeed, many people talk about the path of the failures being their path to success. So guess who said this? A little bit of a clue there, basketball. I've failed over and over in my life, and that is why I succeed. Yes, it was Michael Jordan. He says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots, I've lost almost 300 games, and 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. And after each setback, he reviewed, he learned from the setback, practiced, and went on to get better and finally to be one of the best. So whether you review success or failure or something in between, the most important thing is to think about what you can learn from it and take forward from that experience and apply to your next steps, whatever those next steps might be. And this is all part of what Dr. Carol Dweck refers to as the growth mindset in her book, Mindset. How you can fulfill your potential, a book that I believe everyone should read. She says, the growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things that you can cultivate through your efforts. And although people may differ in every which way in their initial talents, their aptitudes, interests or temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. The theme of this series of videos is the presentation of a process for dynamic growth and development. By its very nature, growth and development require change, and change is part based on reflection and learning. And the whole learning cycle reminds us that effective learning is achieved by passing through 4 stages, and you can see these here on the diagram. But what I want to draw your attention to today is the second stage, reflective observation. This is a very important part of the process. If we don't think about what worked well, what did not, and where improvements can be made, then it's difficult to continue to learn or to try new things. Plans to make changes shouldn't be made in isolation. And it's really important to understand your starting point. And this is what the review process is all about. Signing up for this video series means that you've already taken the first step towards making changes in your life as an accompanying partner, if you wish. So how can you review where you are now in a way that is helpful in informing where you decide you want to go and how you go about getting to where you want to be? Now, if you've set goals and objectives in the past, then the best place is to start by reviewing how much you've achieved in relation to those goals. And if you haven't, no worries, it's still possible to review, of course. So how do we suggest you conduct your reviews? Well, first of all, consider who you would like to involve in the review. Now, of course, you absolutely can do this alone. But I find it can be a lot more fun and illuminating to do the review together, with your partner or with your family. And the rationale for including your family in the process is that as we move on and move towards the planning process in the future videos, we're going to suggest that you plan in the context of your overall life and responsibilities. And so if family life is part of your reality, then it makes sense to include them and it in your review, either as an area for your review or as input to your review. You can make the choice. If you have no children, or they've moved on and left home, and your partner's not available, perhaps they're away travelling, then why not engage a friend in the process? Sharing thoughts and insights, perhaps your friend could be doing the review process for themselves as well. Another person's perspective can be illuminating. And often we can be quite tough on ourselves, and a reliable, trustworthy friend can help us to be more realistic. So having decided who you're going to involve in the review, the next step is to decide what period you're going to review. So if it's the beginning of the year, you might look back over the previous year. You may choose to review half a year, 6 months. Or if something has changed recently that's made life feel less in control, perhaps if you've recently relocated, you may decide it's time to do a review of your time since relocation. How is it all going? What have been the highs, the successes, and so on? Then the next step is to divide your life into categories, the categories that are important to you. Now here we've made a suggestion of different categories. Some may be relevant to you, some may not. Some may kind of fit. You just need to rename, reframe to fit your life and what makes sense to you. So decide on the categories in your life that you want to review, and you can use this guidance here. And then once you have decided on that, take each category one by one, doing this either individually or as a family or both. And then the review process centres around a series of questions that you apply to each category. And the questions are as follows. Firstly, what went well? What's gone well? Secondly, what contributed to those outcomes? So as you think back, think about what has made you feel particularly proud in that period of time. What have you done? What's happened that have made you feel proud? What's made you feel fulfilled and happy during that period of time in relation to this particular life category? And write those things down. And then for each of those, think about what it was that contributed to those outcomes, because this is where the real learning comes in. Then move on and look at what didn't go so well. There are always things that don't happen quite as we wanted them to. So look at those and ask what didn't go so well, and ask what contributed to those outcomes. Why did they not go so well? Then once you've done that, ask yourself, what have you learnt from your answers? What will you continue to do? So for those things that went well, what does it make sense that you continue to do the same? And then what will you do differently? For things that perhaps didn't go so well, what could you do differently that will hopefully make a change if those are things that you're going to be continuing with in the future? So the purpose of the review is not to beat ourselves up about what went badly, but to inform our thinking and evaluate what we want to keep doing and where we want to make changes. So don't skimp on questions 2 and 4. Take time to really think through what contributed to those outcomes. Now, there's a downloadable review sheet that accompanies this video, which will help you to document this process. So you can go to your email and you'll find the link there. So download that. And my action point for you at the end of this video is for you to spend some time working through that documentation, conducting your review, and then bring a completed version to the next video. So the next video, which will be sent to you in your inbox in the next few days. It's called Mind Mapping Your Future Direction. Bring some paper and coloured pens, and we're going to have some creative fun with that session. So I look forward to speaking to you then. Meanwhile, bye for now. Thanks for listening.